Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of Humbled. This is gonna be my new series that I'm gonna do weekly. Hold me to it with the gun if need be. Each week, I'm going to get submissions from you guys of your craziest, most disgusting, scariest, spookiest, sexiest stories. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, and each week, you know what, I will also share a humbling story about my life and my personal experience. And this show, we're just gonna bring some light to some dark situations. The amount of submissions that I got for this first episode was insane. I got over 100, which thank you so much if you did send something in. I will say this was my summer reading. I took hours to read this, okay? And I do want to say y'all have bad grammar, okay? I have some notes because y'all were fucking crazy and I had to edit this, I had to reread things, I was going cross-eyed, but I appreciate you guys. I'm so excited to jump into this. But as I said, I will share my most humbling experience this week. This week, I will say that I have been occupied with a crush, which is already a humbling experience to begin with. So I met this guy last week and we hit it off, and the next day he went back to where he lived, which is on the West Coast. So right now we're doing LDR, okay? I'm in a situationship and we're doing LDR, and there's a time zone difference. Everything is just, you know, really working in my favor as things normally do. So one night we decided to do a little FaceTime, like a spicy FaceTime. And I don't know if anyone has done FaceTime sex. I feel like it's a little harder than people mention it. Like, I feel like honestly it's maybe more difficult than shower sex. In the comments, agree with me or not, but I do feel like the logistics for the FaceTime is a little different, okay? You know, you're in like a little phone and you're kind of like doing a visual, and you're also speaking, and you're kind of speaking where the phone's not at, if you're catching my drift. The visual maybe, you know, is a little lower than, you know, where you speak out of. And I felt weird. I felt like I was like dirty talking to like my pillow pet. Like it was like up here, I'm down here, I'm arching my back, and I'm trying to do a dirty talk. It was confusing. I feel like FaceTime sex is only as good as your Wi-Fi is. That's just what it is. Because this man is across the country, and then he's also 3 hours behind me. And I was over here, you know, I got my tit out, and he's like, wait, I don't see it. You know, like it was like, there was maybe like 1 or 2 times where I had to be like, did you hear me? Or he was like, wait, what'd you say? And I was like, oh, sorry. I had to pull the phone out of my ass like I was having a colonoscopy. And I was like, oh, sorry, I said this. And like, you know, just having to like, having to do ahem while dirty talking is something that I feel like no woman should go through. And I will say this is my first time that I've ever done like a FaceTime like that, just because, you know, that's not, I'm acoustic, okay? I'm sending a full nude in iMessage on green text over Android. Like, I'm not doing no FaceTime audio moaning. Like, I'm not doing that. I enjoy sexting over a FaceTime sex, because I feel like when you're sexting, like, you could just like paint a whole world, you know? Like, you become like a poet a little bit. Like, I'm just like Edgar Allan Poe. Like, you just like go, you could do what you want. So that was a humbling experience for me earlier this week. You guys sent in crazy stories. I'm sick to my stomach and I'm so excited. So let's get into our first story. I am gonna keep everyone anonymous because these are simply scary. These are scary stories and no one should ever be named. Maybe I'll give an alias. Would that be fun? Like Alyssa. Just to be like, we don't know. This first story is a workplace horror story, and this is from a girl who sent this in. She goes, hi, I worked a job where I reviewed emails and came across an email thread of an employee who was cheating on his now ex-wife with a younger girl. They always do, which is horrible. But if I'm that younger girl, like, yeah, I still got it. But like, if I'm older and that happens to me, like, you better be fucking a MILF. Like, I want you to be with the GILF. Like, don't go with someone that's not using the same amount of retinol as I currently am. The email thread was the husband and mistress discussing using their child unicorn toy as a dildo while a coworker watched. Guess who the coworker was? Me. Honestly, I would be flattered a little bit. I think it is funny though that she has the worst role. You know, like the email wasn't even like, I want to fuck this coworker and it happens to be you. It's like, I want us to have this thing and like get it on. And then we want Tabitha in the corner watching, you know, like you're just like sat alone in the cuck chair. Also like the child's unicorn toy as the dildo, like it's a child's toy, you know, like how big can that be? Like, wouldn't you wanna, like a child's Fisher Price? Like, how did this even come about? I indirectly told the now ex-wife about the affair given my job responsibilities. This then led to the guy flicking boogers on the bathroom mirror and on my office door, which was a see-through glass. I resigned 2 months later only to have the guy apply to the company I moved to. I had to re-explain to my new boss why we shouldn't hire him, but guess what? He was hired immediately as he is a friend of the boss. Okay. You know, before I kind of was like,
what's with the child's toy? What's with the baby toy? Like, these people are adults. Like, just get like a real fucking dildo.
This man is a child, clearly. If flicking boogers on your door. Also, if it's see-through door, like, did you ever see him coming to do that, you know? Like, did you ever see him, like, rev up? Like, rev his engines and, like, hit the corner and then do, like, a flick-a-thon? Like, that's absolutely crazy. I'm curious if you still work with him and how's that been? I'm also assuming he obviously knows that was you, which is why he flicks them at your door. I need to also know, what did your now boss say when you said that about him, that he was flicking boogers at your door? Is that, you know, is that sexual assault? Like, is that, they don't have a course for that, you know? Like when you're taking like harassment, sexual harassment in the workplace, how about mucus harassment? You know, is there anything about like respiratory phlegm and like bodily fluids in the workplace? Like you can't be doing all that, because if not, I feel like HR should be making a course thanks to you.
You're gonna be like the reason why there's like a new course coming out, which honestly is kind of a flex.
This was a great story. I'm scared for you. I do think this is mental. I think that he needs assistance, but I'm happy that it wasn't worse. I'm happy that he didn't put like a booger onto your desk, you know, like how people do with gum. You don't know, maybe he's doing like, you know, like they could be worse. So anyway, good luck, girl. Okay, next story. This guy says, in lockdown, I was playing PS4 with my brothers and his friends. I have never met one of them, but one was always very quite hidden and quiet about what he did for work, but was always very nice. Suspicious, always very suspicious. One night we all ate edibles and we were playing PS4 together. I was very high and they started to convince me that the mysterious guy was a hacker for a living and could access all of my phone information just from knowing where I was in the world. Scary. I didn't believe him at first, but he slowly started to convince me. He decided to prove it by sending photos from my camera roll to me to prove that he had access of my phone.
Okay, I'm afraid.
I was so shocked and scared and started to really freak out. I was so panicked that I deleted my entire camera roll and all of my backups. I had a girlfriend at the time, if you know what I mean. I told them I just deleted all my photos and they bursted out laughing and couldn't believe it. Still continuing with the fact that he was a hacker. Turns out my brother was just sending him photos I had sent to my brother in the past, and he didn't have access to my phone information at all. I lost around 3,000 photos in a good 2 years of my life. In hindsight, it was hilarious and I'm an idiot, but it was probably the hardest I've ever been pranked, and I still lie awake thinking about it. Back up your phone, people.
Whoa. Whoa.
The thing is that this ain't a prank. Like, I would be violent. If someone did that to me, like, it wouldn't be no little funny goofies and giggles. Like, it's on site. If you have me deleting my photos. Also, you had a girlfriend, so, like, I know that there was some, like,
Nudity.
there were some scandy photos. And you know when a girl is taking a nude that she's taking the best damn photo of her life. Do you know how hard she worked for that? And you're just deleting all her hard work? If I was the girlfriend, honestly, I'd be upset. I'd be like, seriously? Like, this took me hours to pose an arch. What do you mean you just deleted it? I do understand it though, because I literally would believe anything when I'm high. There is no stopping where this little brain can go. Like the overthinking and the spiral and the trip that I can go on. Like, if someone told me this too, I would definitely do the same thing. I wouldn't even delete the photos. I would have removed my SIM card and swallowed it and shit it out and then ate it again. Like, I don't, this was mild, honestly. Okay, a girl submitted this and she goes, so embarrassing that I had a crush on a boy in college. I used to see him walk into the lecture hall that I was leaving every Tuesday. Sometimes I even wait a little longer just to accidentally run into him. The problem, I had no idea what the class following mine was. Doesn't sound like a good one. One day, bored and feeling bold, I decided to sit on the class and snag a seat next to him so we could properly chat. You go, girl. I would do the same thing. The amount of times that I have like physically put my body in the way of harm just to like involve myself with the boy is alarming. While waiting, I sat next to someone else and tried to strike up a conversation about the class. Mid-chat, that person got up and moved a seat down. Naturally, my first thought that it was racially charged, as I was one of the few brown students in my largely white school. Just then, I saw my crush walk in. He sat in the front row, one seat away from someone else. Figuring it would be way too weird to weave my way to the front, I decided to wait until the end of the class to chat about what we learned today. Then the TAs closed the lecture hall doors, which never happened, and the professor put a timer on the board. Papers were being passed out, panic set in, and I was sitting in on a midterm. I briefly considered taking it with the fake name, but there was exactly as many papers as students. If I didn't confess, another student would miss their exam and they'd figured it out anyway. So there I was, almost pretending to take a midterm for a class I didn't even know. 5 minutes in, I had to get up, hand in my unfinished paper at a table way in the front of the lecture hall, apologize to the teacher with no explanation, completely embarrass myself in front of my crush, and sprint out of the lecture hall with the entire class watching. Everyone knew there was no way that I finished a midterm in 5 minutes. The effort that women do for a crush, okay? This is, if you haven't even met him, you haven't even been on a date yet, okay? If you tell him that you did this for him just while you were having a crush, he's about to have the best girlfriend. He wouldn't even know what you would do as a girlfriend, okay? You fucking buy the lecture hall for him. I would be so petrified, especially getting an exam that I have no knowledge about. Like, what are you gonna do? It also makes so much sense now why that person sat away from you, because you're testing, babe. It's 1, 2, 1, 2. That is so funny. I need to know if you ever told him that story. I feel like he would love it. I need to know if you met your crush or you dropped out of school. What happened? And also, I need to know if you ever, did you ever see the professor again? Honestly, now I think you would need to leave your previous class 5 minutes early just to not run into that school, that group of peers again, because that's crazy. These stories were so good. Thank you guys for submitting. If you haven't submitted a story yet, unfollow me. Just kidding, please stay. But you're due. Hello. If you want to, go to my link tree and you can see Tell Daniela What Happened. It's like the top one. You can't really miss it. And you can submit your story. And if you already did submit a story, send another. You definitely have more. Rhea, make it crazier. Go kooky. Like, let's get sillier. Like, you guys, this was so perfect. I'm going to be doing this every week. I am going on the road soon for stand-up. I will have all of my show dates and states on my website, danielamora.live. Check it out. I will see you guys next week. Bye.